I'm getting soft. The Shaun the Sheep movie is written and directed by Mark Burton and Richard Starzak. It's based on the television series created by Nick Park, which in turn was a spin-off of Wallace and Gromit. And this movie features the voices of Justin Fletcher, John Sparks, and Omid Jalili. And the story in the Shaun the Sheep movie is very, very simple. The animals on the farm just kind of want a day off from their daily routine, so they make the farmer fall asleep. But through a series of, crazy things happening, the farmer ends up kind of getting shipped off to the big city where he loses his memory, and the animals have to go find him and bring him back. Now, I had never seen an episode of Shaun the Sheep before watching this movie. I really kind of just saw it as, a kiddie spin-off of Wallace and Gromit. But I do know that I like Aardman. Like I've seen parts of Chicken Run and parts of The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, though I don't really remember them that much. Though I have seen the entirety of the Pirates in an Adventure with Scientists, which I really, really like. So I was expecting this movie to be good, but I ended up really, really loving it. I love the Shaun the Sheep movie. The animation is beautiful. The story is very, very kind of touching in its simplicity. And directors Richard Starzak and Mark Burton really understand how to make a good movie, not just a good animated movie, but a good movie in general. Now, the stop motion animation in the Shaun the Sheep movie, it's relatively pretty simple compared to other studios, but it's still absolutely gorgeous. I mean, when you look at the work of Laika, who made Coraline and Paranorman and the Box Trolls, their style is very kind of grand. The character models are very intricate and whatnot. But for Aardman, their designs really are a lot simpler, which does not, lower the quality in any way. In fact, I do think that the character models in this movie are just extremely adorable, and very, very expressive as well. And they're expressive in a way that doesn't, betray the overall animation style, the simplicity of it all. Because I feel like it would be really simple and really easy to, just make the characters kind of caricatures of the expressions, of the emotions they're feeling, but there's still a lot of restraint in the way this is animated, so it still manages to feel kind of feasible in a way, and it manages to really kind of single-handedly get laughs. I think people underestimate how hard it is to make a character cute or funny just through the way the character is animated, but they really do it well here. Arguably, Aardman's animation style is not as fluid as other stop-motion studios, but their style really does help with the innocence and the light tone of the story that they're trying to tell. I mean, they use real water in this movie as well and real lighting, but for the most part, it's very, very simple character models that just kind of go straight to the point. In terms of music, it's cool how they use the TV theme throughout this movie in like a couple of different variations. That's nice to hear. But they also have this new song called Feels Like Summer, which I found the inclusion of very, very welcome because I love the song. I've been listening to it ever since I watched this movie. Especially, they have there's one scene where the sheep sing like a barbershop quartet version of the song, and that scene just really moved me for some strange reason. I really liked it. And the Shaun the Sheep movie is pretty much like a silent film because I forgot to mention there's like no dialogue here. There's literally zero dialogue in this movie, and it works so well because I think that just like silent cinema, a lot of the laughs really just depend on comedic timing with the editing. And the editing here by Sim Evan Jones is very, very well done in that, there are just lots of quick visual gags being thrown at you that never linger too long, so they do achieve maximum effect. If you don't find a certain joke to be that funny, it's gone in like 2 seconds and you don't have to worry about it. And the editing also becomes very key in telling a purely visual story, which a lot of people, I think, tend to underestimate with editing. And the editing here is great in that it's just in the way shots are sequenced to show characters just kind of looking at each other. Just through these shots, you can tell how these characters, the relationship these characters have with each other. And you really didn't need any dialogue in this movie because it's all there visually. The plot of this movie is extremely simple, and don't go into it expecting like realistic, reactions from certain human characters or whatever, because right off the bat you know that this isn't supposed to be a purely realistic story, but still in the plot's simplicity, it manages to be very, very heartwarming in a way, and actually manages to talk about family in a way that I found to be extremely touching, and I actually found myself tearing up a bit near the ending. The characters, while they may not be as deep as, I don't know, Pixar characters or whatever, for me they're still as deep as they needed to be for this movie. They're still deeper than some of the live action characters we see in modern movies today. And you know you have great characters when they don't say anything, but you know what their personalities are like. And just a quick note on the voice actors in this movie, major kudos to them. I mentioned their names a while ago, for being able to convey emotions and getting laughs just through the sounds they choose to make. Again, they don't have the luxury of dialogue at their disposal, but I really thought going in this movie that they would just use like stock sounds from the show, or like recorded sounds of sheep, then just plug them into the movie. But you actually have voice actors here choosing what sounds to make, and that is such a cool thing, and they managed to pull it off so well. Finally, the directors, Starzak and Burton, really understand that a good animated film does not depend on like the cute factor, or showing off like your animation style or technology, in which I think a lot of modern animated movies kind of fall victim to. These directors really understand that to make a good animated movie, you need to make a good movie, period. And they really hinge everything in this movie on telling a heartfelt story, and they managed to pull that off with spades. And as directors, the way they construct their scenes is relatively very simple, very intimate, but there's still a lot more like camera movement in there than you might expect. The tone they managed to achieve in this movie is very consistently sweet and lighthearted, but it never gets saccharine, it never gets too sentimental or anything. The emotional moments in this movie are small and intimate, and therefore much more powerful in my opinion. If I have any issues with the movie, it's that there are a couple of scenes where they have like songs playing in the background, songs with lyrics that I don't feel like fit in this movie, because it just feels so off. Like I feel like these scenes would have been better without these songs, like with just like an original score behind them. And the villain in this movie, Trumper, voiced by Omid Jalili, who's this animal catcher or whatever. I felt like they were setting him up to be a bit more sympathetic and a bit deeper at the start of the movie, but it turns out he's just kind of like evil, which is kind of disappointing, but it's okay. But in the end, I'd still say that the Shaun the Sheep movie is a great movie. At the time I watched it, I said it was the first great movie of 2015, and I still stand by that. I seriously think it'll appeal to anybody who has an inner child in them. And I guess the trend with animated movies is to just keep making sequels, but I actually wouldn't really mind if they made a sequel to this. Alright, so those are my thoughts on the Shaun the Sheep movie. Have you guys seen it? What do you think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Whatever you thought, whether you agree with me or not, please leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation.